Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I am Brian, and I play Hektor the Gatekeeper.
Hey, I'm Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow.
And I am Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker, Michael Parker, playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We are back once again with a tale of epic adventure. When last we left our heroes, Hektor, Rilla, and Zurabak arrived at the town of Picker's Run, a small city of scavengers nestled against the southern border of the Badlands. They were in town for but moments before heading straight to the local inn, the Skinned Coyote, for drinks and revelry. Many drinks were had in the drafty common room as our heroes enjoyed the pleasure of a roof that was not on fire. Sebastian filled the inn with songs as Hektor and Zurabak pounded rotgut and Rilla sipped martinis on the roof. Amid their drinking, our heroes got word of a unique artifact that a local scavenger had uncovered in the Badlands, piquing Sebastian's curiosity. The next morning, the party went to go see Tess, the owner of a junkyard who was said to possess this artifact. There the party met Tess, her son Roy, his husband William, and the lawman Ruger Firehide. Ruger was in possession of this artifact, the remnant of a cipher golem, a tool of the old world used to tend to the ancient libraries. Ruger had been given this artifact for rescuing Roy the previous night, and was not keen to part with it. After some fairly tense negotiations, Ruger agreed to guide our heroes north through the Badlands to the city of Everspring. And so, we find our heroes now in Tess's iron lean-to shack butted up against her large junkyard. Hektor, Rilla, and Zurabak and Ruger Firehide sit with Sebastian, Roy, and William, all devouring a very heavy breakfast as Inga Hilltopple has just entered and informed them that the road north has been compromised. Inga says, "Yes, it appears that the northern road, the road we take to get to Everspring from here, is gone. The outriders we sent to check on our route before we head there tell us that the Badlands have completely covered it. The ground is pitted and cracked. It is bleeding into the tree line of the Springvale Forest. It appears as though there is no safe way north. It will be good to have someone like Ruger, was it, to guide us through the Badlands, if indeed you know your way around them."
You need not worry about me, ma'am.
Sebastian says, "Well, that's horrible, as on par with the rest of our entire journey. It's just more horrible things, one right after the next. Great. But at least we've stumbled upon another strapping adventurer with a integral piece to the puzzle of ending the Glyph Purge once and for all. I suppose we should take some time to prepare for this journey. Mr. Ruger Firehide, may I call you Ruger?"
You may.
Okay, Ruger. how, on a scale from like a nice down pillow to a field of poisoned caltrops, what is the level of danger like that we're going to be experiencing in the Badlands? Now, the name it reveals a lot, but like how bad is it out there?
You're serious? You're asking me how bad the Badlands are? I mean, you said it yourself. It's in the name. There's undead walking about. There's wild magics. There's, you get lost. It's a scary place. It's probably closer to them poisoned caltrops you were talking about.
Great. Excellent. Amazing. And I get to trundle my giant wagon just straight through it. What happened to the road? I took that road south from Everspring to collect all of these colorful characters and grapple with the horrors that we've encountered. How could the Badlands have destroyed it? What is even happening?
Well, that is a telling question, sir, but I'd first ask Miss Hilltopple, was it, that perhaps she might want to invest in better outriders. I mean, did you consider they just lost the road?
Your caution does you well as a guide, but I assure you that my daughters are very skilled trackers in their own right. We have trod this road countless times north and south, and if they say it is gone, then it is gone. I had heard rumors that the Badlands move, but I had no idea that they lurched.
Well, I would say that is a new one, but Badlands are nothing if not full of surprises. They shift on the daily, but expanding, that is, well, quite disconcerting.
Yes, well, my family and I are going to do some shopping, find some armor and weapons, some parts to modify our wagons. I would implore you all to take advantage of the rare goods here in town and outfit yourselves as best you can before we head out into the Badlands. It will be terrible. And with that, Inga turns and walks out of the lean-to.
Okay, so yes, we need to prepare ourselves for our journey through, but the main road is gone. The main road to and from Everspring is just not there anymore. That seems really, 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 really bad.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing that one in, Hector. It's great. It's not like my sister's in there or anything. Nope.
Wait, come again? You have a sister out in the Badlands?
I have a sister in the Everspring Forest, which apparently is getting eaten by the Badlands, so I'm a little concerned, yeah. You know, see the ears? Elf?
Yeah, I believe it or not, ma'am, I did ascertain that you were, in fact, of the elven folk. And I would worry not. I mean, Springdale Forest has got to be the safest place on all of Meosha. So, rest easy.
I'm not trying to rub anything in. I just, can we stop it? Can we make it not have destroyed the main road? Is there something we can do Is there something we can do?
Does he always talk like this? Is this like a gatekeeper thing? Haven't met too many of them, but this is... Does he always talk like this?
It's definitely a Hektor thing. It's definitely a Hektor thing, I would say.
Zurabak shrugs.
Sebastian says, my understanding of the Badlands is that they are the remnants of a horrible war. The 4 great human cities that once made up the north of this island, Skyer, Gramain, Altos, and Fel, the people in these cities, after the Glyph Purge happened, they blamed each other. Misinformation was sown. They blamed each other for the horrid thing that had happened, and they waged war against each other. They unleashed such horrific magics so often and in such great supply that it destroyed the tapestry. It destroyed the very fabric of our reality. And that chaos, that damage, created the Badlands as they exist now. Something horrible, something outside of the normal world. If it is spreading, that means that it might just take over everything. Oh, God.
Well, now that would be unpleasant. Haven't spent as much time as I have in the Badlands, I will say. Wouldn't want to spend too much more there if I didn't have to.
Can we stop it?
I was hoping that the Stricken's grimoire would have some hint as to...
I'm sorry. I need to interject here for just a moment. The what now?
Oh, the grimoire of the Stricken? The spellbook of the evil wizard that destroyed...
Yeah, no. I know who the Stricken is. Okay, I know who the Stricken is. My question is, grimoire of the Stricken and in your possession.
God, Sebastian is really, really bad at for a bard, you just let everything out right away, huh, bud?
Well, Rilla, in my defense, I believe we are on the cusp of Ruger here becoming a fellow protagonist, and if he is going to accompany us to Everspring and give us access to this incredibly valuable artifact that he's recovered, he should know what we already have at our disposal.
And the lovely couple here and their mother, they need to know it too?
Well, yes.
Can we just not jump to conclusions here? I'd say, a really solid, important supporting character.
That's... Yep. Okay. Alright, Gatekeeper. Okay. Now I'll say this. As for the bard, have you ever met a bard, Rilla? Talking is like all they do. It's literally their like sole contribution to society.
I get that, but I also thought that they were like aware of the nuance of speech, like so good at speech that they don't just blurt out every important, valuable artifact we happen to be carrying the moment they think of it, But
Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah, well, that's you being a long-lived elf, and that's him being a goddamn bard, so...
I will have you know that I may not be a master tactician or a world-renowned swordsman or a survivalist or an agent or a spy, but I hold the book, and that is incredibly important, and so we have the Stricken's grimoire, basically, is my point, and...
wait,
I was hoping...
let me guess. Y'all can't read it. Is that right? Is that about the gist of it? Y'all found this fancy book, but you can't read it.
Welcome to the world. How are you?
I'm guessing it's the wrong book.
Did y'all just hear that lizard speak?
technically he's a half-orc.
Yeah, no, I picked it up, but with the flicking tongue and the skull paint, it seemed appropriate.
I will accept lizard.
Of course you will.
Righty.
The Lizard King, Zurabak, the Lizard King. We, in our travels, have uncovered this incredibly valuable piece of the puzzle. In reversing the glyph purge. We found the spellbook of the stricken, and if what you hold, Ruger, is the remnants of a cipher golem, we might be able to reconstruct something that is not immortal and that will not suffer the same curse that we do, and that can read this book. This tome might have the architecture for how the stricken cursed the world, how he damaged the very tapestry that we all live in.
So, what's the plan then? We gonna take that book and this here half skull, and we just gonna jet across Badlands and into that fancy college of yours, and y'all just gonna refigure out how to read, huh?
Man, how much would it suck if we do all that work and it ends up just being like his personal diary about like how much he hates his neighbor and this, that, and like nothing useful?
It's a cookbook.
A cookbook, yeah.
Yeah, that would be sad.
Well, I'd say that even if it was his grocery list, if we are able to read it, that's still something.
Well, now, Gatekeeper, that might be the most clever thing I'd done heard out of your mouth. But to be fair, you weren't setting the bar too high, so.
Zurabak chuckles.
I like the lizard.
Excuse you, sir. That is no mere lizard. This is the king of the shocker lizards.
Say the other one.
Champion of the mountain goats.
Well, I gotta be real honest with you. I don't know what either of those two things are, so, you know.
Have any of your kingdoms survived you, Zurabak? Like, I'm pretty sure the shocker lizards are dead. The goats, I guess, did, but...
Oh, goats. Sorry, I thought you said ghosts, and I just was rolling with it. I mean, it makes about as much sense as shocker lizards.
They shock. And they're lizards.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about what to know about them.
Yep. Okay. And all right. So I'll be honest. This has all been quite weird. Just all of this.
Yes, well, to answer your earlier question, the plan is, yes, to take the Stricken's Grimoire and the artifact that you've recovered, this fragment of the Cipher Golem, take them to the lore masters at the College of Everspring. Their resources, their magic, their connection to the Lady Narrativa will be instrumental in helping us to decode this. Maybe read the book, maybe be able to find out how the Stricken was able to do this in the first place and undo it. How find the recipe of his spell and fix it. I think that with the pieces we've assembled, we have a real possibility. But we've also realized that there are many enemies in our path. Enemies that seem to be cutting off parts of the world. The mountain pass in the gate has been, well, filled by an avalanche. The road to Everspring itself has been swallowed by the Badlands. It's almost as if some hand is trying to cut everyone off from each other, throwing obstacles directly in our path. It's fortunate we met you when we did. We'll need help to get through the Badlands, but between the Cult of the Stricken, the Knights of the Pyre, the invisible assassins that we faced in the gate, I shudder to think who else might stand between us and the College of Everspring.
I hope they taste good.
Well,
For once, Zurabak, I agree with you.
I'm not sure I'd be too keen on eating anything you find in the Badlands, but that's just me. And, sir, to your point, I am happy to help escort y'all to that college. And in your endeavors to bring about the end of the glyph purge. But I should also mention that a little compensation could go a long way. It's worth discussing. You know. Worth discussing.
I believe that Inga has a storied tradition of paying her goons, as she so eloquently put it. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to compensate another mercenary bodyguard for her wagon train. And I can assure you that the lore masters will pay quite handsomely for that artifact. Quite handsomely.
Well, I'm sold. So, we doing this? We shopping, and then we venturing.
I, for one, will need to restore certain unmentionables that have been used and or soiled and or destroyed and or eaten in our journey so far. It will be nice to go to an actual shop and buy actual things for once, instead of trading with a halfling out of the back of their cart. No offense to the Hilltopples, but yeah, I suggest you all do the same. I believe this town is stocked with any supplies that an adventurer would need. It's full of scavengers heading into the most inhospitable environment one could imagine. Take your time, shop for anything you need, and we'll reconvene back at the inn when we're all finished. Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Zurabak shrugs.
All right. Well, goodbye. And Sebastian stands up and walks out of the shack.
And then we all awkwardly walk out with him because we all remember we're going to the same place.
Yeah, it's super uncomfortable.
hey.
It's like, oh, right.
Fancy meeting you here.
Yeah. So, basically, you can shop if you'd like. This town does have a couple of stores, some outfitters. There's even a weapon shop and an armor shop. If you'd like to purchase some things, you can buy standard gear from any of these stores. I believe Inga gave you each 100 gold pieces last time. Ruger, Inga gives you 100 gold pieces as well. This is the down payment on your services as the bodyguard and guide.
Taken with thanks, ma'am.
I'm pretty sure Hektor has my 100 gold pieces.
I believe he does.
Yes. I tried to give them to you multiple times, multiple ways, and it has not worked.
And it will probably continue to not work. Have fun.
So Hector's got 200 gold pieces. But yeah, basically, if you guys want to shop, you can buy whatever stuff you want to buy. There's you can buy any like standard equipment or gear you'd like from the player's handbook, unless you're good. But you're heading into some pretty inhospitable environments, so any random crap you'd like to buy, like an extra mount or, I don't know, stuff, feel free.
What's a mount? I just have a cat.
No, man. Ruger's all set and ready to go, so he's heading to the Skin Coyote.
Samuel, I need you to describe for me your most, ridiculous trinket that I might purchase as a souvenir.
Oh, no, that's interesting. There is a strange contraption that a merchant is actually playing with in the general store when you walk in. It's a strange metal thing. The guy has a string tied around some central component inside of this weird like metal globe. and he pulls a string very quickly, and this internal component spins very fast, and this strange globe stands perfectly on end, and he picks it up and holds it on the tip of his finger, and it balances perfectly. He puts it on the very edge of the table, and it balances perfectly. He puts it on the end of his walking stick that he's got leaning against the counter, and it just completely captures your attention. This guy's fucking with a gyroscope. It's made of a shiny silvery metal, and it's like a ripcord you pull that while the internal workings are spinning, it maintains its balance on whatever surface you put her on.
What is that? It's so pretty.
I'm not sure what it's called. It's kind of it's not that big a deal. It's just kind of something I sort of just found kind of out there in the Badlands. It's I call it a gyroscopy. It's kind of a...
It's a fun name. Yeah.
It's cool. It like balances on whatever. It's kind of it's no big deal, really. It's just some junk, Did you want it?
Yes, definitely. I'm looking for a present for my little sister, and this looks amazing.
Cool. Yeah, that's okay. That's great. That'll be a 1 gold. And the shopkeep raises his shoulders like all the way up to his ears, like 1 gold?
Huh. That's a lot of money. Can I see it? And I kind of reach my hands out.
The shopkeep ties the cord around the central component again and pulls it, making it spin, and he hands it over to you, and it like balances perfectly on the tip of your finger. And whatever else you put her on. You like put her on top of your head, balances perfectly, doesn't roll off in any direction.
I mean, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's absolutely useless, but pretty cool. You know what? Sold. And I slap a gold piece down.
That's such great news. That's the first sale I've had in quite some time. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, great. You're doing great, Evan. You're doing great. You're having a great day. Can I interest you in any of my other wares? I've got...
Now I feel like I need to see Evan's other wares. I wasn't gonna buy anything else.
I've got climbers kits and pitons for traversing the horrible trenches in the Badlands. I've got pickaxes and shovels and mining tools for digging up treasure in the Badlands. I've got spy glasses and just a bunch of cool stuff you need to adventure. Come on,
I've never
Evan,
been to the
this.
Badlands before. How screwed am I? Like, is this going to be just like a real quick death, or?
I mean, if the ground doesn't erupt in undead abominations, and the air doesn't turn into acid fog, then you should only die when the ground beneath your feet turns out to be a cliff, and the illusion magic kicks off. So that'll, it's a mixed bag.
I can manage that one. That one's not scary. I'll just float down gently. My companions will probably die, though. That'd be sad.
Yeah, it sounds pretty sad. I lost all 3 of my uncles in the Badlands. All of the same, acid fog. It was a pretty bad one.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was watching with the spyglass. I saw the whole thing happen. I don't like to talk about it.
That's fair. What a downer of a story. I just feel really sad now.
That's how I get them. But can I interest you in any of my wares? We do have some stuff that you can't find anywhere else that we've actually been able to salvage from the Badlands. We have some alchemical stuff. And he this guy opens up a cabinet behind him, and you see some pretty weird stuff. The rest of his store is full of like ropes, climbing gear, mining equipment like you described before. But he pulls open this cabinet behind him, and there's a bunch of stoppered flasks of various colored fluids. You see a couple bags that are like brightly colored lime green. And he's got a couple weird looking like sticks in there. It's like, these are some alchemical items that we were actually able to grab from the Badlands. This is alchemist fire. He holds up this vial of like neon red liquid. If you throw this flask at something, it burns real good. I like to use it on, like ghouls or skeletons, that try to kill me when I'm getting more vials of alchemist fire. He pulls out a vial of this like weird like amber bubbly liquid. This is acid. It also burns, but different. It's like not a fire burn, but like sort of a dissolving. It's pretty gnarly stuff. You could throw that at like ghouls too, mostly, or like other stuff, I guess, probably. This is cool. And he has a bunch of these like short, like copper sticks. It's like, these are sun rods. If you hit these on something, they'll shine real bright for like 6 straight hours. These are really useful, when it's dark, or if you find yourself falling into a deep crevasse and you want to, see your hands in front of your face when the ghouls are eating them. And then what else we got here? Oh yeah, we got some smoke sticks. These are fun. You set these on fire, and it makes a bunch of smoke super quick for running away from ghouls. A lot of it's ghoul specific, and
I'm seeing that.
That's important. And the last thing I got are these are Tanglefoot bags. I don't even want to tell you where I found these, but these things. He holds up these like brightly green colored bags. These have this like gooey, gross stuff in it, and if you throw them at somebody, it'll stick them like real, like it'll stick them fast. So if you need to like make some ghouls sticky when you're running, so they don't eat your skin or bones or muscles. Come on, Evan, you could do better than this. So like that's what I got. This is a premium stuff. I don't just show this to anyone that comes through with actual money or anything like that. Just prime customers. So
Evan, you're my favorite shopkeeper ever. Just ever.
That means an awful lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely would like some of those things. I'm gonna drop like 100 gold here because I feel like Evan really needs it. Like a lot.
He really does. I don't want to get into his whole backstory, but he watched 3 of his uncles die from an acid cloud.
So I'm gonna buy 3 alchemist fire, 7, 8, and then 3 acid flasks, and then 5 sun rods is what I'm gonna buy.
Yes.
Just so I have them.
Good shit. Yeah, stocking up on the alchemical items. Nice.
At around this point, Hector comes up to the front counter with an armful of stuff and drops it down. Let's see, I am going to get a bullseye lantern. I'm going to get silk rope. And then I will also be purchasing a 10-foot pole.
No! Damn! Are you going to be buying any oil for that lantern?
Yes, absolutely. Just go ahead and round that up to 10 pints of oil for my lantern.
Jeez.
Does Evan happen to sell disguise kits? Because I really want one.
Oh, I don't, that's not really my thing. I think Sheila, the armor merchant, she should have some, fancy clothes or stuff. I gotta be honest, you're my best customer. I don't want to lie to you, but that's just not what I have in stock. But I appreciate the money. Come on, Evan, you're doing good. So thank you.
You're doing so good, Evan. You're the best. To Sheila! And I run out of the room.
Man, Rilla, you're being very personable, Rilla, and it's lovely. Like, hey, this guy's incredibly uncomfortable with social interactions. Kindred spirits, you're doing it, man. You're the best.
My kind of guy.
Did anybody else want to buy anything from Evan's Emporium?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Zurabak, you did buy something. I used some of your gold to buy you a new 10-foot pole.
But I like this pole.
It's fine. It's not 10 feet anymore.
I don't need a new one. This one's not fully 0 feet yet.
And I will have this one waiting for you. Evan, was it? Is that right?
That's right. Evan, owner of Evan's Emporium. What can I do for you, customer?
Well, obviously, like I'm buying these items. I couldn't help but overhear you telling my friend about ghouls in the Badlands.
Yeah, there's a lot of ghouls. Most of my experiences in the Badlands have been ghoul adjacent or ghoul related. There's a lot of them. The dead kind of just get up and walk around out there a lot. In fact, if you see 2 or 3 guys that are mostly burned down to like maybe 1 guy and they're undead, you can say hi to my uncles. Cause they might be out there too. I'm sorry, what was your question? Fuck, don't fuck this up, Evan. Come on, Evan.
Just, so if the dead walk in the Badlands, is there any, like, religious artifacts around town that might help fight them?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the weapon merchant, Oliver, he might have some stuff for that. I'm mostly like general goods. Just kind of your random knickknacks. It's kind of what I've got. So, but Oliver, the weapons guy, he should have some stuff. I think we had a priest in Narrativa come through and may have offloaded a couple goodies. But you'll have to see him. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
It's quite alright. I'm just going to slide you this money for these items that I am purchasing from your store. I am purchasing them from you. This sale is made. Good work.
He holds up the money you gave him. He said, you hear that, uncles? Evan still got it.
And then I'm going to pick up my items and back out of the store. You have made the sale. It is final. Good job.
Bye. Cool. The next shopkeeper's not going to be that fun because we have to actually move the store forward. What else do you guys buy?
The disguise kit from Sheila.
Yeah, Sheila is a surprisingly young woman with a mohawk, and she's got a hook for a hand. One of her her left hand is a hook that is made out of some fucking crazy metal you've never even seen before. She has racks and racks of all kinds of armor, chainmail, and splint, and leather, all kinds of stuff. And she pulls out from underneath her counter there a disguise kit.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you see a lovely box with a bunch of. It's very dusty and very well worn, but inside there's some wigs, some fake noses, a bit of costumes.
And as I'm looking through it, I just casually cast like an alter self and make myself look exactly like her for funsies. I'm just like, yeah, it's a pain. I can do this really well, but then I still have my clothes on, and it just ruins the whole thing,
She does not respond verbally at all. Her eyes go wide, her mouth drops open, and she just plays the mirror game with you for like 30 seconds. So you have a disguise kit. What else are we buying?
I deducted the price of a mule and a saddle, a pack saddle, so that I could just be like, that's where my shit goes. Because Rilla can't carry a lot.
Rilla bought a mule and a pack saddle. This is that old school D&D where, we're doing this shit. We got 10-foot poles and mules.
Her name is Peach. She is Peach the Mule.
Fantastic. Done. Remember that, dear listeners, when Peach becomes the main character of this campaign later.
She's gonna get eaten in like 2 days, but it's fine.
Yep.
Ghouls love mules.
Mule.
Zurabak, no!
Cool. What else are we buying?
I will go to the weapons shop and look into any sort of holy weaponry, holy water, or anything along those lines that might help us from Oliver.
Yeah, there's a middle-aged guy with tattoos covering his bare chest and up his neck to his jawline. Just these fierce, crazy tattoos. And he has racks and racks of all kinds of weapons all over his shop. And when you ask about stuff to help with undead, he pulls out a small chest, pops it open, and it is full of vials of holy water. Looks like a priest of Narrativa did wander through town a couple months ago, and was able to drop these off. So there's as many vials of holy water as you'd like to buy.
Alright, I'm gonna purchase 4. So 100 gold's worth. One last point of order. I would like to swing by the bar.
Cool.
And inquire as to how much a bottle of rot gut.
So can I interject here and ask real quick? I mean, the two of you have been shopping. Zurabak, what have you been doing?
That's a good question.
Well, my question to you was, Lizard, buy you a shot of whiskey? Come on, then. And we go to the bar, so when Hektor comes in, I'm here with Zurabak.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I will purchase 2 bottles of rot gut.
It stinks to high heaven and makes your eyes water when you even sniff it. It is absolutely flammable, by the way. It is absolutely flammable, by the way.
And just as a point of order, I have been keeping the 100 gold that is Zurabak's separate. I have purchased the 10-foot pole out of Zurabak's money, and I purchased one of these bottles out of Zurabak's money.
Cool. So yeah, everyone's going to be meeting back up at the inn. Hektor, you buying anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Rilla, you buying anything else?
I am finished.
Fantastic. So after your shopping spree, you all meet back up at the Skinned Coyote, the only inn in town. And as Rilla and Hektor convene on the inn, you see Ruger and Zurabak drinking at the bar. The bartender, Old Charlie, serving up the drinks.
I would also like to mention that I buy a top shelf meal for both Zurabak and myself. I'm buying drinks, I buy dinner too.
Fantastic. Yeah, you both have a lovely steak dinner. It's not good steak, but it's the best steak available in Pickers Run, because it's the only restaurant in Pickers Run. But you guys both have a lovely steak dinner. Do you guys talk during this meal?
Probably a lot of grunts.
I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, just a lot of satisfied grunts back and forth, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So Hector and Rilla, you arrive at the inn to see Ruger and Zurabak grunting fitfully over a couple steak meals that they are eagerly devouring. Shortly after you guys get there, the bard Sebastian wanders in. Well, I've purchased everything that I needed to get. They didn't exactly have everything I needed, but, it's far from civilization, so I made do. I suppose everyone's ready to go? Everyone's all kitted out and ready to journey into the Badlands?
Mm.
As ready as I'll ever be.
Am I back to being me yet? I checked myself out.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it's fine.
All right. Well, I suppose there's no time like the present. And, Sebastian turns on a dime and heads out the door.
I do too.
So you guys all filter out of the Skin Coyote into the courtyard just outside of it, and you see that the Hilltopples have been busy while y'all have been shopping. The Hilltopples' cloth-covered wagons have been fitted with armor. They've put strips of metal all over the canvas canopies of their wagons to give them some armor plating, and they've all bought some chainmail barding for their hounds. So now every one of these dogs pulling these wagons, the riding dogs that Helga and Olga ride around on, have been covered in barding. And you see a couple of these halflings riding shotgun on these wagons have bought crossbows. And it looks like they're taking this shit very seriously. Inga Hilltopple turns to you all with a crossbow in her hand that's like a little too big for her and says, "We are locked and loaded. Are you all ready to go?"
Ready as we'll ever be.
I mean, I felt pretty ready until I saw how ready you are. Now I feel very protective of my mule. Kind of hug Peach a little bit, because she doesn't have barding.
I lick my lips.
Yeah, I grabbed my horse Cole from, where he's lassoed up or whatever. God, I do not know cowboy lingo.
Where he's tethered to the horse.
Horse post, yeah.
Pole outside.
Yeah. Hitch. It's called a hitch. It's a hitching post.
You untether your valiant steed Cole from the hitch outside of the Skinned Coyote. That's a cowboy sentence.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. You all saddle up and get to moving. You got up pretty early in the morning before you had breakfast at Tess's junkyard. So, and you shopping only took a little bit of time, couple hours. So it's still pretty early in the morning. It's before noon. And you guys have plenty of daylight to burn up as you guys head out. Your wagon train advances out of the town of Pickers Run, with Ruger and Hector out front, followed by the Wagon of Wonders, with Sebastian driving and Rilla on the roof. Then the Hilltopple clan, and bringing up the rear is Zurabak. And you travel for a couple hours over the dry scrub brush and tumbleweeds leading to the North Road. By the end of the day, you've made your way fairly far north of the town of Pickers Run, and Ruger, you can tell that the landscape you're in now is absolutely the outskirts of the Badlands. You know that this road usually is just a broadstone road that's fairly safe, that runs north straight to Everspring. But now the road itself, the stones have turned black. They're pitted, cracked, and it continues that way into the distance for as far as you can see. As the sun starts to set, the sky above you, instead of the normal reds and oranges of a sunset, is this strange, scintillating, like electric purple color. And as the stars come out, they blink and shimmer crazily like they do over the Badlands. You can tell fairly certainly that this road is no longer safe and has succumbed to the eerie presence of this broken land, and this certainty is strengthened by the howl that comes into hearing as night fully falls. A ghostly, eerie howl comes creeping over your entire group. This plaintive keening. You can't entirely tell where it's coming from, but it is perceptible to all of you, and it just drones on and on and on for hours as the sun finally sets and night completely overtakes you. The howl just keeps going on, seemingly carried by the breeze. Eventually, Sebastian says, "Well, it's dark and terrible everywhere. Perhaps we should make camp somewhere, circle the wagons, and try to not die in the night. Thoughts, Mr. Firehide?"
Yeah, camping here's fine. Let's pull over around the wagons like you said, hitch the horses, and I'll keep an eye on the perimeter. But keep your eyes peeled. The undead walk these parts nowadays.
Mr. Firehide, if you'd roll me a survival check to find a suitable campsite.
Baby's first survival check. How about it?
You're playing the game now, Ruger. You're playing the game now.
That's pretty good. That is a 21. 15 plus 6.
That's very good. You are able to find a particularly mangled bit of the road, which has surged upward into a small hillock that definitely was not there a couple weeks ago when you were patrolling this area. But it makes a good spot to circle your wagons around and give you a little high ground to survey the area around you. You keep the fires low, obviously, not on top of the hill, but it gives you a bit of a defensive position. And yeah, you're able to secure a fairly safe camping spot for the night. As you're searching for this spot, and as you guys circle your wagon and the hilltop will start to set out tents and stuff on the inner ring and set up some small cook fires, that howl just keeps keening, just on and on and on with no end. It shudders in the fitful drafts that blow here and there in the Badlands, but that howl just keeps going and going. Sebastian seems to be particularly troubled by it, as do the hounds of the Hilltopples. Their dogs have all put their ears flat. They're kind of hunched over. You can see that Book, your dog, Hektor, is also not digging this. He's like whining every once in a while with his ears flat. Sebastian seems a little ill. He keeps like sticking his fingers in his ear and shaking his head a little bit. There's a cold sweat coming over him as he comes down to set up his little cook fire. He does not seem well. Ruger, you're about to set off on patrol. As you do, Inga Hilltopple waves you over to a cook fire. Mr. Firehide, if you please, a moment before you head out.
I approach, but I stay just at the edge of the ring of fire. Firelight, I guess.
Is something wrong, Mr. Firehide? I can barely see you.
This is close enough. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, I apologize if I make you uneasy. You are in very interesting company, sir. You've wandered into a tale that might be larger than you expect. The people that you travel with are, heroes. They save cities. They fight monsters. They put up with an annoying bard who never shuts his mouth.
Is that right?
Yes. You may have wandered into the company of protagonists. You may be a protagonist yourself. I am curious if you'd be willing to let me check.
And what exactly do you mean by that?
A simple card game. I present you a deck of cards, you draw one. Your new companions have all already played this game. I assure you, they enjoyed it a great deal.
Oh.
It is an old tradition in my family and something that could reveal what fate has in store for you.
And how did it work out for them?
Oh, magnificently.
Really? So, if I were to go ask them how they felt about your card games, they'd all just rally with joy.
Well, they have all been given some insight into the threats and perils that may lay in their path. I'm sure that the foresight afforded is worth the nightmares induced by the warning themselves. Mr. Firehide, you have wandered into a narrative, a story, one that might be of great import to the entire world. Do you not want a glimpse of what might lay in your path before that story comes to an end?
And what good would it do me? I mean, what? Tell me my future? Is that what you're suggesting?
The cards will tell you your future. I can tell you what they mean, of course.
Yes, of course. Well, ma'am, I'll ask you one question then. Is this a stipulation of my contract?
Oh, now that is an interesting question. Let's say, if only to satisfy my curiosity, yes. As a stipulation in our agreement, hiring you as a guide and a guard, along with the 3 others I have hired as guides and guards, you must draw a card from this deck.
Well, Miss Hilltopple, you are a ruthless boss indeed. But if it is mandated by the contract, then by all means, show me the cards.
Will you not come closer to the fire, that we might see what the cards show?
This is plenty fine, ma'am. Just tell me which card to pick and I'll pick it, or whatever the rules are. I can do it from here.
I will come to you then. She stands up from her cook fire and wanders over to where you're standing, and she holds up a deck of cards, face down. You simply pull the card from the top of the deck, and I will tell you what it means.
I pull a card.
Oh, that is very interesting. You have drawn the Tower. What shows on this card is a tower burning. It is struck by thunderbolts,
people fall from its heights, crashing to cold rocks below. This card represents something larger than even the picture on it. It represents ruin. The one who pulls this card may face in their future the loss of everything they hold dear. All they own, all they care for, stripped from them. Though I wonder, in your case, Firehide, if this is not the symbol of something that has already come to pass.
Well, I reckon that's the long and short of it. That card doesn't tell me where I'm going. It's a reflection of from where I came.
Perhaps the story behind those scars, yes?
Perhaps.
Well, maybe one day as we travel together you will see fit to share your tale. I certainly will not pry or distract you from your duties any further. I will keep this card, think upon it. Know that the rest of your companions have drawn cards as well, and their fates are, well, no brighter. Nor is mine. There seems to be darkness down the road for all of us. Or in Zurabak's case, a palace and people fawning over him, which I'm sure you realize is a fate worse than death. But go, I've taken enough of your time, forgive me. An old woman and her superstitions.
I nod to her and put back on my white brim hat, and then I sweep off into the darkness.
Yeah, you go out on patrol, and does everyone take a shift on watch as normal?
Yes.
Yes.
Probably.
Fantastic. So yeah, you guys all take a regular watch. Zurabak, quick question. Are you still watching Sebastian like a hawk?
Like a baby alligator ready to bite.
Gotcha. That's way better, and I apologize for not using that one myself. So for those that may not remember, back in Blackrock, Zurabak noticed, while casting some spells, the bard Sebastian had his eyes turn jet black for a moment. Ever since then, Zurabak has been watching the bard very, very closely. Zurabak, as you're just eye-banging Sebastian the entire time, you notice that from the moment you guys passed into the Badlands, from the moment the road turned this pitted, cracked black stone and the sky overhead start to warp, and you heard this howling. The howling in particular has really set Sebastian on edge. He is sweating profusely. His skin is gray and clammy. He's shivering, and he keeps putting his hands over his ears like he's trying to block out the noise. But he looks like he's getting ill, like physically ill, the longer that he's here. And he started pulling on the collar of his shirt, and you notice underneath the collar of his shirt, you've never seen him without his shirt before, and there is some pretty massive scar tissue peeking out from under his collar as he tries to undo it and fan himself, like a pretty gnarly amount of it. He's like fanning himself regularly, but that, yeah, you notice that he doesn't seem to be doing well, and he's apparently hiding this like massive bundle of scar tissue that starts on his chest. You don't see all of it, but that's the start. So, do you do anything with that knowledge, or just put that in the bank?
Glare. I glare, and
Gotcha. Understood. Yeah, well, your first night in the Badlands goes without a hitch.
You all take your turns patrolling. Ruger rides out along the perimeter. You all do the same when your shift comes up. And it is spooky and eerie, but it is not dangerous. Nothing assails you so far. You wake up the next morning, and the caravan heads out once more. Day dawns, and the sun doesn't move the way it should in the sky. You know, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, but you're in the Badlands now, and the sun seems to be skidding laterally, like along the rim of the horizon. Instead of rising or lowering, it seems to be moving on the other axis. It's very disconcerting. But you all continue following the road north, and after another about half day of travel, you start to see the very edges of the Springvale Forest, Rilla's homeland, the massive, sprawling, verdant green forest that is the last bastion of the elven people. You come to a pretty significant rise in this low landscape, and you see stretched out before you a eerie and disconcerting picture. To your right is the Badlands. Strange storms, misty clouds, and strange flickering lights stretch out for as far as you can see, and on your left you see the Springvale Forest, this gorgeous, verdant, endless copse of gigantic old-growth trees, this impenetrable canopy with birds of every kind flying over the top of it, stretching out farther than you can see, and the border between them, you see about a half mile of dead trees. On the side of the road where the Springvale Forest starts, the trees are black, like they've been rotted. They are, their limbs are bare and bereft of leaves. The greenery is completely blotted out, and there is a creeping blackness rolling over all of this natural beauty. It looks like the Badlands are creeping fitfully into the Springvale Forest. That is what you see before you. Sebastian says, By Narrativa's blessed braids, it's even worse than I thought. Sebastian looks over everything and says, I traveled this road. Mr. Firehide, I traveled this road just a few... 2 months ago. This is crazy. Could the Badlands possibly have spread this quickly?
Well, I was skeptical, but proof is in the pudding, as they say. This is a dire scene here, Sebastian. Give me a moment. I want to take a closer look at one of those trees. And I gallop off towards one of the dead ones.
Rilla, do you think you should accompany him?
Yeah, I'd like to. Screw it. We are not doing any battle-y stuff. I transform into a halfling and borrow a dog.
Yep. Ruger, as you ride off, like the solo bounty hunter that you are...
Not a team player.
You are suddenly riding apace with an unfamiliar halfling on a riding dog. You've done caravan guard duty before. You've taken head counts before. You know all the hilltopples, at least by sight at this point. This is a new one.
I look exactly
look
like me. I look exactly like me, but I'm a halfling. So I am blonde with green eyes and tan skin, and I'm just there, but tiny now, and my ears are normal.
Yeah, so you're now being paced by a halfling on a riding dog chasing after you. That looks exactly like Rilla.
Are you the sorceress?
Yeah, man. I do this sometimes. You better get used to it.
I mean...
Considering you're checking out my home, it might have been good to offer a ride, but hey, man, it's cool. I've got abilities.
I'll keep that in mind for next time. I wasn't certain you'd want to see this.
Well, I kind of need to. It's not a want, right? Because I have family in there. Anyway, whatever. Let's go.
Just as a note, Hector's not fully following. Like, he's not trying to catch up to them or anything. But he is kind of changing his footpath and kind of trying to go like maybe halfway between the caravan and them, just to keep an eye on what's going on over there.
Sure. Yeah, you guys, Ruger and Rilla, head out towards the tree line. Takes you a little bit, but you're at full gallop. You get there and yeah, Ruger, you see really fucking dead trees and it's super lame. Rilla, the trees aren't just dead. You're looking up at these enormous old growth trees that make up the forest of your homeland, these massive, towering, leafy green trees. They're jet black. Their bark is pitted and cracked. There are giant rifts inside these trees, like they've been struck by lightning, but you don't smell ozone or any burning. There's no smoke. They are completely bare-limbed, and you feel something in your chest as you get close to them. You feel this strange sense of distress.
I freeze immediately when I feel that. I don't go.
Roll me a will save,
Okay.
real quick.
Then my will save is a 16.
Okay, you feel an overwhelming blast of anguish sort of roll through you. You're able to fight it off before it completely overtakes you. But this just wave of absolute anguish and suffering just rips through your brain as you get close to the trees. The veil that protects this forest is made up of powerful illusion magic. It was set in place hundreds of years ago to keep anyone that the elves didn't want to get into the forest out of it. These powerful illusions spring into place and force people away. The elves are immune to this. You just felt that hit you.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you were able to fend it off, but you just triggered the wards of the elves by approaching this forest.
Fuck!
And Ruger did not.
That's not good. I let my alter self spell go so that I turn back into an elf, and I also back up. And I cast Detect Magic, and I'm sure it's like batshit insane behind me. I'm really looking for an absence of magic here.
So you're able to deduce this. The Badlands, you've been told several times, is a place of wild magic. The fabric of reality is broken here, and magic acts in completely unpredictable ways. The veil under which the forest that you call home is under is made of incredibly powerful ancient elven magic. Magic from the very souls of your elven ancestors who gave their lives to empower this incredibly potent spell. It seems like the Badlands creeping in on the forest is starting to undo this powerful magic. It's starting to drain it away, starting to warp and twist it. And that seems to be sucking the life out of the forest as it's happening. The Badlands are basically eating all of the magic in the Springvale forest, and it's what's killing these trees.
Not to mention possibly allowing God knows what into the forest.
Yeah. Yeah, Ruger, you know that when you have gotten this close to the forest before, shit starts getting a little wild, because, the elves don't want people in here, and no, you've gotten no whiff of anything. You're closer to these trees than you've ever been in your life, and they're completely dead and pitted.
Well, now, I would say this all here is mighty strange.
Yeah, you can't even sense what I'm sensing, man. It's real bad. I think the Badlands are eating my forest, so
Well,
that's not good.
that's a reasonable hypothesis, and yes, I believe we can agree that that is not good.
And you clearly don't feel anything stopping you from getting into the forest, so that's... Meanwhile, I got slammed by it, so...
Well, now that is strange. I did take note that I did not
Yeah.
feel the overwhelming terror and confusion that I normally do when I approach these woods. But the fact that you felt it and I did not,
I should not have felt it.
And I should have.
So-
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Very sure.
Magic's broken here. Something's extremely wrong.
Yeah, it's called the Badlands. It's a terrible place. I've been trying to stress it to y'all.
No, I get that, but also my forest has been here by it like for a very long time without any issues, so you know.
That is very true.
I really need a runner right now. Shit. There's nothing else to be found here, I don't think, and it feels extremely bad to be this close to my forest in pain, so I'd like to head back to the group if that's okay with you. If you got any more exploring you need to do?
No, I would say this has sufficed.
Okay. Alright. I'm just gonna hop on your horse with you. I don't wanna be a halfling again right now.
I reach down a hand and help you up. And
Cool.
ride back to the wagon train. Like a cowboy.
Do you guys give your report to the rest of your party?
In full.
Yep.
All right. As you give this very unfortunate information to your party, Sebastian gets even paler and starts sweating more. Oh, of course that's what's happening. Everything's unraveling. Just the void brought to Earth. Everything's just awful all the time. Of course it is. Of course it's all coming apart. Oh, the fools. The absolute fools.
You all right up there, Sebastian?
Who's the
Fine,
fool?
I'm fine.
Who's the fool?
What?
You're muttering.
You call the fools? You said something about the fool. Who are the fools?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I was rambling. I think I'm coming down with something. It's just being silly Sebastian. Nothing.
Sense motive.
Yeah.
Roll it.
I also did that. I heard him.
Man, I'm normally good at this, but I rolled really poor. That's a 6.
I got nothing. I got a 4.
I'm normally shit at it, but I did pretty good. I got an 18 total.
Yeah. It seems like he's just jabbering. It seems like he's just kind of out of it and not really sure exactly what's coming out of his mouth. He does look incredibly sick.
I put a hand to his forehead.
Oh, he's clammy as fuck, bro. He's super shaky. He's like breathing heavy, and he starts tugging on his collar again, even as you're touching his forehead, and he pulls his collar down, and you now, Ruger, see this giant knot of scar tissue that starts right under the line of his collar. He doesn't seem to remark on it, but there's just this huge knot of scar tissue that seems to start right there, and he's kind of woozy in his seat.
I
It
take hold of him and say, "Come on, Sebastian. I think you ought lay down. Let's get you in the back of the wagon, cool you off. One of the others can drive for a bit."
Yes, I don't think this place agrees with me. Who takes the reins of the Wagon of Wonders?
I'll take the reins.
Fantastic. Hector, you climb up in the driver's seat. Ruger, you put Sebastian to bed.
Yeah, so when I do that, I take him back into the back of the wagon, lay him down, pull out some water, and then I unbutton his shirt and see what's going on.
Zurabak, are you still watching Sebastian like a hawk?
Yep.
Fantastic. You help him button his shirt. At this point, he's so woozy that he doesn't really know what the fuck's going on. He certainly doesn't fight you. You unbutton his shirt. Ruger and Zurabak, who just like crept up to the back of the wagon to see what's up, you
Creepy.
see a gigantic X-shaped scar that is carved into his entire torso. Sebastian has from shoulder to hip, like across both sides of his chest, has this giant, ragged, horrific X-shaped scar that crosses his entire torso. You have no idea what the fuck may have caused this. It's this horrible, puckered, just knotty scars. You have no idea what could have caused it, and it looks like it should have been a fatal blow, whatever the fuck it was. It looks like horrific. Yeah, while you're tending to him, he shudders and says, the fools, void in the oceans, they'll never get the strand. And that's where we'll end. Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into our player characters' psychology, their motivations, frustrations, characterizations, and try to get a better understanding of them as people. In this part of the show, we like to ask each of our protagonists a question and see if it doesn't reveal something deeper about their personality. This episode, our question is, where do you feel safe? We will ask each of our protagonists this question in turn, and this week we will start with the newest addition to our story here, Ruger Firehide. Ruger, thank you for coming to the studio. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing just fine, sir. And yourself?
Oh, I'm holding my own. I've got several electrified fly swatters, and I think I'm getting to be a fair hand at this, just sort of fending off the horrific, biting, stinging creatures that see, like that. I got that one right there. That was
yes. The sound
training
effects
for that one.
The sound effects really brought it together. You know,
they help. They help. I have to believe that they help. Anyway, forgive me. So, Mr. Firehide, the question before you today is: where do you feel safe? Now, that's a big question, and that can mean anything you like, physically, psychologically, a place or a person. Where do you feel safe?
well, sir, I'd say Firehide feels most safe when he's on the road with sun at high noon, wind at his back, not a care in the world. That's where I feel safe. Moving forward, steady. Onwards. Ever onwards. Never having to worry about what might be in your rear view.
Well, that's very interesting. I'm not sure many people would share that perspective. So you feel safest when you are out in the open with no walls and no roof, just in the middle of nowhere, as long as you're moving forward?
Well, yes, sir, that's about the gist of it. I have spent a great deal of my life in the wilderness, hunting both beast and man, as a bounty hunter is wont to do. So yes, I feel comfortable out in nature's bounty, and forward momentum doesn't hurt. That's why I've always been a big fan of traveling in the freeholds. There's always somewhere to see right over the next horizon.
Interesting. And this sense of security you feel when you are out on the range, is this because you're running from something? Is there something in your rear view that makes you feel not safe? Is this all perhaps just a means to stop yourself from turning around and confronting some dark omen in your past?
Well, sir, I should say that, believe it or not, Ruger is getting on in years. Starting to get some gray in the beard. I don't know if you've noticed. And a man...
And talking in third person.
And a man who lives to be this age doesn't get here without having some regrets and some past mistakes and some lifelong fears that, perhaps they're best left in the past.
That makes sense. I suppose someone with your wealth of experience would have a lot of potential skeletons in their closet. Well, Mr. Firehide, thank you very much for your honesty and your candor. We certainly appreciate it. And do watch your step on the way out. I think there's a new breed of something spawning in this swamp, and I'd hate for it to get you. Just please watch your step.
Good day, sir.
And next we have... Oh, great. Zurabak is in my studio again.
Yep.
I'm overjoyed. Zurabak, how are you?
Oh, feeling good.
Now, see, every time you do that, it makes me spiral into existential dread, Zurabak. I don't really appreciate that. What have you brought some fresh hell into my studio?
Maybe.
Great. Well, I only get... Okay, I guess I just gotta plow forward then. The question this episode, Zurabak, is where do you feel safe? I shudder to think what that would look like, but Zurabak, where do you feel safe?
I feel pretty safe here.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you feel safe in my recording studio, which you have diabolically terraformed into a dread swamp. Like the one you came from.
Oh, it's not quite dread yet.
I don't like the yet, Zurabak. That's not... Sharon, did you hear that yet? Sharon, you heard it, right? Sharon? Yeah, Sharon heard the yet. Why the yet? What comes next? What could possibly come next?
It could always be safer.
Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna take the bait. I'm gonna let that one lie. I'm not even gonna go farther into that, Zurabak. So you feel safe here in my recording studio, which you've turned into a swamp. That's your final answer?
Also, wherever you don't feel safe.
Now that's interesting. So, me personally, like the guy in the studio, wherever I don't feel safe, you feel safe?
And Sebastian.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Because I don't feel safe, like, at a crowded urinal. But, like, you feel safe there? Like, you'd be cool there?
The safest.
Well, Zurabak, this has been uncharacteristically revealing. And I'm sure our viewers appreciate getting a bit more than one or two grunts out of you this time. Thank you very much. And please don't leave anything else in my studio, please. There's vines on my dials.
I can't promise that.
Right, okay. Bye, Zurabak.
Oh, no, I think I have to go feed something. I'll be in the back.
Okay. Sharon, does he have a cot back there? Sharon, where'd that cot come from? I think he moved in. Okay, I think he moved in. Okay, well. All right, Rilla Longshadow. Welcome to, I guess, Zurabak's apartment.
Oh yeah, he was telling me this is his new winter home, I think is how he phrased it.
Oh, no. Oh, it's worse than I feared.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna do my standard just cleaning, but I'm gonna use all my prestidigitation. So here's 30 square feet of cleanliness. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Including where I'm going to sit.
You are a balm. You are a cool breeze. Oh, okay. Thank the studio gods. All right, so now that I have some room to think, let's get back to some professionalism here. Rilla Longshadow, thank you for coming to the studio. We always appreciate your time. I know you're very busy out there. The question today is, where do you feel safe? Where does Rilla Longshadow feel safe?
That's an interesting question. Because I feel like the obvious answer is that my beloved home forest is literally protected by a magic barrier. So anywhere in there is obviously safer. But I also hate it there a little bit. So, I don't know. I feel like since adventuring, the safest I've felt has really been with my new spell. Like the ability to go out in the world and not be me is addicting, I think might be the right word. So yeah, when I'm altering myself, I feel very safe.
Fascinating. So there is no one place where you feel safe anymore. Obviously, your forest home has some problems with the people there constantly staring at you and the elders experimenting on you for your magic. So you feel safest when you are literally anyone else, when you have magically changed into a different person.
To be clear, it is very physically safe in my home world, but it is also extremely restrictive and unpleasant, and the only positive light was my little sister, and the rest of it was awful. So in general, I feel not in danger, but I am enjoying the freedom that Elder Self is giving me. Yes.
That is a fascinating answer. I have to assume it's worth it just to avoid the stairs as an elf moving through the human lands. It's got to be nice to sort of sidestep that sort of attention.
Well, not only that, but I can choose when I want the stairs, right? Like, I can be a bugbear, and everyone can look at me. Or I can just be another human, and no one will look at me. So that's nice.
Fascinating. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That is a very interesting answer. Much appreciated. Rilla, thank you very much for your candor. That's definitely one to think on.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know how long this area is going to stay clean, but I guess enjoy it while you can.
Oh, I'll drink it in like a fine wine, and believe me, it won't stay clean and it's dirty again. Okay, great. And great. Okay. Well, we'll see you next time, Rilla. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Hektor, the gatekeeper, keeper of the gates. How are you, sir?
I am doing wonderful, and can I just say, couple weeks ago, I ran into your mother again at the company Christmas party, and this time, could barely hear the disappointment in her voice. Just barely. It's getting there. It's getting there, buddy.
You don't know what that means to me. I've been working so hard to ratchet it down that 5%, and I'm glad someone else picked up on that. the holiday party is a real big thing for us. And, it's just, thank you for that. Thanks. We're still around 75, but it was at 80. And so that's real improved. But, but this isn't about me. This isn't about me. My apologies. Hektor the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates. Welcome to As the Dice Turns. The question today is, where do you feel safe?
Well, host, that's an interesting question, I guess. I'm a grown man. I'm a brave, courageous man. I've traveled. I lived in the mountains fighting Grimlocks my whole life. I feel safe everywhere. I mean, what do you want from me? Do you want me to say that I feel safest in my mother's embrace? Because that's, I'm a grown man, and I just, I don't miss my mom that much. It's, it's
Hektor,
just warm there.
Hektor, your face is doing that thing where you're manly sweating from your eyes again. Do you need a tissue, or are you going to be okay?
Ha! Tissue. We don't have tissues in the mountains. And so I'm good. And Bobby, I miss you.
Well, Hektor, that's very sweet, and I hope you get the chance to see your mother again very soon. So, Hektor the Gatekeeper, you feel safest in your mother's arms. I have to say I'm a little bit jealous because my mother hasn't hugged me in about 25 years. So that's got to be a nice. I don't remember what that's like, but I'm sure it's nice. I'm sure it's a nice feeling.
The weird thing with that is I was under the impression you were 24.
Yeah, it's complicated, the math, but it definitely checks out. But again, this isn't about me. So Hektor the Gatekeeper, thank you so much for coming in. Mama's boy. And that's going to do it for As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast. Thank you so much for listening to our little show here. Sharon and I really appreciate it. And until next time, dear listeners, keep those dice turning. Hey there, dear listeners. Sam, the Dungeon Master here, just checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Thank you so very much for listening to Challenge Rating 0. We do so appreciate your ears. Few things to plug here at the end. If you'd like to contact us here at Challenge Rating 0, we are on Facebook, Challenge Rating 0. We are on Twitter at challenge_ZERO. You can email us at challengerating0@gmail.com. If anyone has As the Dice Turns questions they'd like to ask any of our characters, our protagonists, or any NPCs, feel free to send them in. If we like what you send, we will read it on the show. Music for Challenge Rating 0, including our amazing theme song, was provided by the Harp Wolf, Danielle Taylor Williams. She has an album out called Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change? You should check it out. It's a real banger. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com. Additional music for the show is provided by Justin Ra. He has an album out as well called Age of the Spirit. You should definitely check him out as well. You can find more of his work at Justin Ra. That's justinra.bandcamp.com. If you would like to reach out to us individually on Twitter, Beth is at Dragon, the letter N, Distress. Brian is at Dalabrack, DALABRACK. I, your humble Dungeon Master, am at Horace Kemp 3, HORUSKEMP, the number 3. You can reach Alex at Alex Klenke, KLENKE on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for regular updates on the show. Subscribe, download, tell your friends about us. If you have time and you'd like to leave us a review on, Apple Podcasts or iTunes, we'd certainly appreciate that. Help get the word out on the show. We've recently realized that we're being listened to on 4 different continents, which is insane. If you happen to be our listeners in Germany or in Ireland or in Tunisia, hi, thank you very much for listening. Love you bunches. Please keep doing that. And last thing to plug, I have a website, samthedm.com, where you can hire me, your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, to run a game for you and your friends. Due to the horrible plague that's overtaken our entire planet, I'm only doing online sessions, but if you're interested in hiring a DM to oversee a session for you and your friends, feel free to reach out. That's samthedm.com. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We are absolutely delighted to be making this for you folks again. We are also working on some extra stuff that we are going to be putting on our Patreon. We'll have more news about all that stuff here in the coming weeks. But again, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time, adventurers. Bye!